Good morning, everybody from Australia. My name is Bobbie Richardson. Today we are going live with another channeling. Today's focus is on 2023. I did a small focus on 2023 last week, but this week I'm really into it. I mean, Tuesday's tarot reading was just spot on. So go have a look at Tuesday's tarot reading. It's really good for 2023. So I'm going to just chill for a bit and get into this. It was really interesting this morning because our little puppy just jumped off the couch just before I went live and she's hurt her foot a little bit. And then I'm like, okay, I got to shake this energy out because she'll be fine. She's absolutely fine. And then when I was shaking the energy out, I looked outside and here on the branch on the tree next door is this huge king parrot. And I'm like, you're kidding me. I haven't seen a king parrot for a long time, for years. And to me, that is like taking control of your life, like the king in the tarot. You're taking control of your life. You're the total point of existence to creation of what you want to achieve in your life. So I know that that's a really big focus for 2023. But we will get into some channeling in a minute. I actually realized I also don't have my glasses, so it's going to be a bit difficult for me to read the chat bar dash it all. Hey Shuey, hey Sarah, hey Michelle. I'm trying not to put my face right up against the camera to say hi. But we'll get into this anyway. So a little bit unorganized, right? It is 7 in the morning here in Australia. Let's see what they bring through. So if anyone doesn't know me, I channel through the Pleiadians, Arcturians, source energy, Gaia and Elementals sometimes come through. I don't generally say who's coming through when it's happening because then it brings me out of the moment. But my soul, I have a very, very strong connection to my soul. So I've always had messages coming through me, even when I was a little girl, of what to do, what not to do. I've lived my life kind of by my own rules. I have no education, and yet I got all the jobs that I wished for. I realized that I was creating my own reality. Everything I wished for when I was a kid, I've created, I've come into. Didn't mean that I didn't have lessons on the way. I absolutely did, especially when it came to relationships, because my greatest asset here is to spread love. And so my relationships were really in a mess for a while until I'd untangled that mess within myself, which I just did this year. So I've met a beautiful man. Okay, let's see where this channeling goes. So 2023, let's tap in. Bringing me to that king parrot at the moment. So we live in two existences. We live in two realities, and we don't realize this. The two realities are polarities, but waking, sleep is a big thing. And yet we feel we have no control over our sleep. And yet there can be control over that. So they're also telling me it's like driving a car and it's like driving the car and having no instructions. So it's like we're light as in source energy. I see where they're going. So we're light as in source energy, in an avatar, in a body, and that light is at the start of our existence, and the scientists have just proven, or they have created video footage of the light going through the embryos as they are created. So the light is reflecting as copying, reflecting, copying the cell, and then reproducing it in another place. Always in the same pattern, flower of life, creation. Ooh, interesting. So we are light, and when we die, that light will leave. So one might say, where does that light go to? It is existence within every aspect of self. It is almost like they're showing me like a pinpoint where soul light is, that we are within us, and then it goes out to have an adventure, and it feels like it's separated, and then it comes back in, but all is one and one is all. Oh, it's really interesting too. Trying to make sense of this, bringing me now to that Taurus donut shape. So it goes out on an adventure and comes back to the light source. Light source body is God itself within ourselves. That's what most people would call God. It is all encompassing. God never punishes or anything like that, because God is just love. But when we separate ourselves from that to have a journey or an adventure, we forget that we're God, and forgetting that we're God, we end up creating the illusional or delusional aspects of ourselves outside of ourselves that are reflected as something that we don't like, because we're seeing our power outside of ourselves and not within us. The reason why they're bringing this up is because in 2023, we are going to end up having a better understanding of this, those that have done the work, and then they shine their light further. They no longer judge others, and then that will end up waking up other people. So in 2023, humanity's consciousness is like a seesaw. It's going to, and it depends on whether you're on the outside of that seesaw going up and down, or whether you're coming into the center of it and you hardly even notice it going up and down. Center of it is love itself, source energy, the spark within us. So we are like light, learning how to drive an avatar, learning how to drive our bodies. And the experience that we've had so far has been very one-sided or the other. So to have a fuller understanding of us, of this structure, of this body, of this, it's almost like it's two different realities, two different frequencies, two different things coming together to create one, so that we can have this adventure, become mini godlike on Earth, Gaia herself, and create the experience that we truly desire, rather than feeling out of balance, in lack of, someone else is in power. So what we've really done is we've come in as source energy into this body, and then handed somebody else the keys. If this is a car, we've just gone, here, you drive me. And then we let them drive, and then they drive around a corner because they're going where they want, right, in their adventure. And we're going, but that doesn't feel right for me. And then we end up getting angry. And so now in 2023 is when we say to the driver of our car, excuse me, thank you very much. And we must thank them. Thank you very much for driving my car when I didn't know the power of myself, but I'm willing to take my keys back now. I will take my keys back now. Be very determined. They said, be very determined in this. I will take my keys back now. Slide on over, mate, because I'm coming in the driver's seat. That sort of feeling is coming in 2023. So there's going to be a lot of they're coming back to, they are prepping us to do that. This is a prep year to do that. Last year was understanding, letting go of the program, understanding that there is a program. This year is more of a, oh my God, I get it now. How I let myself be guided by another outside force. I'm bringing my power back to me. So anything that isn't conducive to its own self becoming in sync with themselves driving, even to the point they're bringing up companies, even to the point of companies will have to have a better understanding of change within them, within the structure of the company, that each person wants to be there. We are shuffling around until we find those spaces and those places and those spaces within our reality of where we want to be. So within that shuffle, as an individual person saying, I don't want to do that anymore, especially as an adult, because you're born into families and then you're told that you have to, to have an adventure is to allow a family member to be in control of their own reality and journey through on Gaia and go and explore. We don't own our children. And having a fuller understanding and awareness of the love of thyself allows you to let go of that sort of neediness of someone being around you all the time and trusting and relying on family members to do that. There's no need for that anymore because you've filled your bucket. You've filled your bucket with your own self-love, and so you don't need to be relying on others to prop you up, which means that whenever they disappear or they go away, then you're stuck with that. All this is coming up very prominently for 2023. So because of the reshuffling around, and those that are awake are just going no to what they don't appreciate anymore, they don't desire anymore. It's like there's this almost like a graspiness within companies trying to find or fill the right positions, and it's not until they realize that when they make that position a desirable position, then the right person will come in, rather than fighting to have somebody in that space that doesn't actually resonate or want to be there. That's all they're going to end up getting. So there's a reflection there of a graspiness of those who are in charge of the companies trying to pull people in. And then the reflection will be that they'll only pull people in that haven't found their own self yet. And so they'll end up not really wanting to be there anyway after they start to step into self-empowerment. And everybody is going to be going through this reshuffling of self, or they will decide to go into an absolute controlled sector where they will give away their power completely. And then the soul will probably not even want to live in that avatar, in that body. So it's a very consumerism, consuming kind of energy there. So the shifts are going to be like people are going to branch off and create their own realities, and then that have their own inventions coming up. They'll find loopholes in the system where they can break through and create their own adventures and make life easier for each other, make life easier for one another. Those companies will start to take off in 2023. Then the other companies will see the difference, where the ones that are taking off are ones that have conducively got people that really want to be there and are really happy. They're going to expand and take off. There's also, they're showing me not to hold on to anything. Don't hold, even as a company, don't hold on to anything. or as a sovereign person. Don't hold on to anything. Allow the flow to happen. Allow the company to explore in its own identity of itself through the mechanisms of the people being involved that want to be there. Allow a flow to take place. It's really interesting. So yeah, big shifts happening in 2023, and they're telling me up to 2026 for some reason. 2026 keeps coming up in my head too. They keep showing that number. It's like they're telling me huge shift from 2020 to 2026. It's almost like a toddler learning to walk. And you know the changes that happen when a toddler learns to walk. They aren't crawling, so they're not on the floor anymore, and then all of a sudden they can stand up and walk around. Then they can get into higher things. They can get into things, right? And they have to learn lessons on the way through that expansion of their reality. And the same it goes for 2023, even those that have done the work and shadow work and everything, because they're now working with different aspects of themselves, allowing channelings to come in, trusting their intuition, using their imagination for the purpose of creation rather than destruction, in the right manner. Then they end up expanding their reality. And so we've got to learn where new limits are, where the mind can handle it and where the mind says no, because the mind keeps us in this reality. The mind keeps us in this reality, like this separated illusion of ourselves, so that we can have the adventure. So the mind has to agree with what's been accepted and what's not. And that's why there was preparation through movies that were more sci-fi, and especially in the 1980s, 1970s, the first sci-fis that came out, where they had like Cocoon is one, Steven Spielberg's earlier movies, that sort of thing, Close Encounters and all that. That's because our expansion was really wanting to go into meeting and greeting others outside of our norm, and having abilities beyond. But lately, because of the powers really struggling to keep hold of our program, they've been fueling or putting money into movies that have been very fearful based, violence, and all of that sort of thing. But it's always been up to you whether you decide to bring that into your reality or not. And as you get clearer, you'll start to notice that what you watch and what you bring into your reality, you'll be manifesting into your reality too. So it is a lesson. It's going to be a teetering lesson, they said, through 2023, a teetering lesson. Hey everybody, good to see you. Hey Michelle, Julie, Sky Imagination, Sarah K. I'm reading all this very blurry. I can't even make out the blue writing, which is actually the people that are helping me. Matt, hey Matt, good to see you. Hey Katie, Sarah, Jules. Oh my gosh. No worries, Katie. Go back and have a look. It's a really good tarot reading. They were coming through very thick and fast for 2023. Okay, so some of us are going to be able to see into our lives, like into a crystal ball as well. Like they're showing me that this crystal ball is standing out. Oh my gosh, it's heavy. So they're saying it's like looking into a crystal ball and literally seeing parts of your life coming through. Now, why are they saying that? Oh, I see. Because that's preparation as well for what's to come. Then you have a choice of whether you want to keep that same energy going towards the premonition. Then deja vu will be non-existent, because deja vu is premonitions not remembered but felt. Um, and so when you start to have premonitions, the deja vu subsides. So if you get deja vu now, you're probably more likely to have premonition abilities. It's because you've been dreaming or having premonitions on that scenario before, and then when you walk into the scenario, you get a feeling of I've been here before. Where have I felt this? It's because it's already been uploaded to you, but your memory didn't retain it in the logical sense. But when your memory or your logic agrees with premonitions, it will start to retain. And then you will be able to use those premonitions to make a decision on where you want to go. And if you don't want that outcome to happen, and in your reality, remember, you can't be responsible for everyone else's reality that happens. But if you don't want to be in the middle of it all, then you shift your energy to using your imagination to fixate on what you really truly do desire. And that is one of the hardest things for humanity to do, because when we've already got something in our so-called elephant in the room, in our minds, we tend to fixate on it even more. So to be able to shift energy or shift stories, we have to have more control, or driving our car, right, so to speak, on how to utilize the premonition for our own benefit, and then let go of the fact that the premonition will not come true in your reality. So that's a hard one, right? Because if you've already told, that's why it's probably best not to tell someone of the premonitions that you don't like, because then you've already used your ego to inflict it onto somebody else, and then you want to prove that right. And so that proof ends up becoming right, and you end up in the middle of the scenario that you didn't want in the first place. But if it is a premonition on something that you really, truly love, then of course, by means, make it bigger than Ben-Hur. Go that way. Interesting, yes. So we have a lot more control over where we're directing our lives and where we want to go as well. We don't need to follow through on the energies that we have, even if it is a premonition. You do have more every moment to moment. By living moment to moment, you have more leeway on what you want to actually create in your reality. There's also abilities of if you're in a place where you don't want to be seen, you just say to yourself, I don't want to be seen by anyone at the moment. And you can practice these sort of things. Say you go out to the shop and you say to yourself, I don't want anyone to notice me. And you kind of slip in and you slip out and no one's noticed you. And then you can try something else. Okay, today I'm going to put out a lot of love to everybody. And you watch, everyone starts to come up to you and say hi, or just, walk down the same aisle as you, or you become the magnet. Play with these energies, play with these new realities that we're coming into in 2023. They're really opening that floodgate with me and my psyche channeling to gift you more understanding or awareness of where you can go with these magical abilities that we all have. When we start to clear our mind of the clutter of fear-based scenarios. As soon as there's no fear-based scenarios in your reality, you can literally start to play and use these tools. I know, because Bobbie, I have done this. They've taught me this on my path. Throughout the years, they've taught me this. And so I've gone through the premonition things and recognized where I can shift my energy and what I don't like and what I do like. And sometimes I decide to go down the wrong way. Sometimes I decided to go down the wrong path just to prove to myself. So sometimes we might do that. I want to prove to myself that this not so good premonition is going to come true, just so I can prove to myself that I am having a premonition. But yeah, I would advise not to try something like a plane crash or something like that. Instead, I go, you know what? I don't want to even know about that plane crash. I'm going to start focusing on the fact that I am free to go wherever I want, and I love being in this body, and I love being on Gaia. I love being on Earth, and then you'll start to direct yourself in the right manner to something else, and the trip will might even not happen. The plane might not even leave, or the plane might be fixed, or whatever. See, we have to get out of our ego of trying to prove ourselves right to the outside world. When we're proving ourselves right to the outside world all the time, we're just kind of wandering through life with that ego, rather than what am I creating? What do I really desire in my life? And where do I really want to go with this? Drive your car, right? So 2023 is all about taking those keys off that other driver and saying that you're taking responsibility to driving your car. It's pretty cool. Hey, Sandy. So yeah, there's many paths and opportunities. There, like many. That's saying there's more than many. There's infinite paths and opportunities always available to humanity. Always available to humanity. Infinite. Source energy is not a limitation. The limitation is only within our own minds of what it can accept. It's up to us to choose what we want to accept in our reality. And when we accept it, it becomes a gift. And when we have so-called power that to foresight into something, but we're not accepting it, it becomes insanity, because you're fighting within yourself of the gift. You're fighting within yourself, and then you end up bringing in people that put you down and make you feel insane and that sort of stuff. It is an acceptance of the logical self that allows you to become director of your reality through the magical, so-called magic that humanity has. To them, to the ones that I'm channeling through, they're telling me it's not magic to them. To them, it's normal. It's a normal game of humanity. It's just that we were out of balance before, and when we're out of balance and not listening to the abilities that we have through our right hemisphere, then we ended up having a massive war within ourselves. And then that war ended up projecting outside of ourselves. So that's where wars and all this fighting comes from. It's like we started consuming ourselves to the point where there either had to be a massive shift taking place in the evolution of humanity's consciousness, which is happening right now, or you consume yourself and you will die. Your soul will leave because it can't handle these frequencies, these energies that are waking us up to this. And those souls that will pass through that don't want to shift out of the unbalanced story, they end up in another reality that is conducive to that. That now bringing up that light that was in the embryos that splits off is like stars within ourselves. We have that many possibilities that we can expand into. There is infinite amount of, what is it, understandings? I'm wondering where they're going. Understandings of ourselves, desired outcomes. Okay. So if anyone has any questions, I'll try to read the blurry questions. Remember that if you are put in, or you'll put yourself in a position where you feel you are lacking and you don't feel in control anymore, I personally, or they are telling me to, and I would do this anyway, leave. Leave and go. Like if you're having a pretty crappy day, leave and just go sort yourself out. Like stuff it. It's not worth it, because it's worth. Sometimes I leave though a room that's feeling and then I'll go into another room and then I'll collect myself again and go, I am the creator of my reality. That means that I can shine my light how I want to shine it. I can be myself, and that means that anyone that's around me that isn't energetically for my own benefit, I need them to leave. And it's really interesting when you walk back into the room, the person that's being annoying or whatever that's coming at you because you gave your power away to them for that moment, leaves. Or if it was something to do with the governments or something like that, or companies or something like that, then I would take my power back before I go in to involve myself and say to myself that they will be very helpful. So if you step into a room and you say that everyone's against you before you even go into that room, everyone's going to be against you. Everyone's not going to want to help you. But if you step into that room and say, everyone wants to help me, I know that I'm going to get the best outcome out of this day. That sort of scenario, you'll start to see people they'll gravitate towards you. I mean, especially those that are in companies that are really difficult to work in, that have a lot of problematic people coming at them. They will definitely see someone who's shining and expect only the best outcome, because they're surrounded by it all the time. So they'll be like, we all want to help that person, right? Because we know that's going to be a better outcome for all of us. And most people, even in the jobs that they are doing, want to help. It's just that they're in a position where they feel like they're obligated to do something that they don't like sometimes, but they'll even, go underneath the table kind of thing if they have to figure it out for you. So there's a lot more realities, or a lot more, not realities, a lot more possibilities to be had when we take our power back and we shine. We are not victim to this world. We've created ourselves as victim to this world by a fearful program that was pulled over us. But we agreed to that fearful program. We agreed that we weren't worthy. We agreed. And when that agreement happened, more and more crap started coming towards us. Yeah. Yes. See what time is 32. Okay. Let's see who else wants to come through if there's somebody else. There's also going to be, with certain people, contact is being made here on Gaia. Contact is being made, physically made, with certain people on certain missions. They won't necessarily come forward at the moment with that information unless it was conducive to their mission, in the fact of having to step into limelight or something. We're going to see a lot more people who are into the spiritual right hemisphere, creativity, imagination, starting to shine, because there has to be a balance between logic and imagination. And so up till now, logic has been the ones that shined, the scientists and the ones that had to prove everything outside themselves, that sort of thing. That's all that shined before. But with this new balance that's coming up, we'll start to see the understanding and importance of beauty, the understanding and importance of the soul wanting to reside on Gaia herself, with Gaia. She's beautiful. And wouldn't you want to visit the places on Gaia that are beautiful? And so too will humanity will shine in their creative endeavors, because it keeps it, if we're just all logical based and everything's got practical meaning to it, it's very boring for the soul. It gets tedious. Yeah, we're in the same room with the same four walls, and we end up doing the same paperwork day after day. Oh yes, but it got us through the day. Oh yes, but it paid our bills. Oh yes, and it's boring. But life is meant to be an incredible, fascinating, fantastical, magnificent journey. It is supposed to be full of grace and beauty and desired outcomes that are just, wow, that is so beautiful. Just like Gaia is herself. We're not going to go visit the boring places so much as the places where, there's waterfalls and gorgeous trees and, king parrots and birds flying around and everything that is created here on Gaia. More beauty will shine through, and also our ability to be able to see that beauty will shine through. So we'll see beauty where there was none before. Colors will become more intense, and even within our ability to take photographs and films and so forth, becoming more vibrant. They're bringing up the movie Avatar, although I haven't seen the second one. These things will become more vibrant. Also, storylines will change, because it's not going to be the whole fear-based game anymore, the whole polarity game. It's like the chessboard becomes not a chessboard anymore. It's more like a sacred geometry of different colors, and yet before 2020 we were like living the life of the chessboard. It's either black or it's white. We're either stepping in the positive or the negative. This is bad or this is good. There is none of that in this new reality, because judgment drops and you free yourself through that judgment dropping. There is no because when you free yourself of judging others, you're also freeing yourself of judging yourself. And so you become sovereign and authentic to who you are. So in 2023, there's going to be a lot more of that coming through. People are going to wake. It's not just waking up anymore. It's like wake up call. The awakening is happening between 2020 and 2026. But now we're coming into this whole desired outcome. We're learning to create, to ground the desired outcome here on Earth. Can you please elaborate on being in the now moment? Is it enough just to be? Okay. In the now moment is just an acceptance of all that is happening around you right here, right now. And there is nothing else going on in your head. In the now moment, there is no monkey mind. My throat. There is no monkey mind. Hang on. In the true essence of the now moment, it really does feel like utopia. It feels very peaceful, and there like you might flicker in and out for a while. So you might get in this space of, oh, that was a nice feeling. Why was that a nice feeling? Oh, I didn't have anything else in my head. I was completely 100% in on that. Artists are in the now when they're painting. Surfers are in the now when they're riding that wave. They have to be present. That's why they love it. It's because it brings them into the moment and it gives them that good feeling. That good feeling is complete acceptance of what's happening. And when you are in the now moment, even if something does go a little bit squiff, the acceptance of that squiff in that moment doesn't keep it going. And so it's like if you had a ribbon of energy behind you. When you are in your monkey mind, that ribbon of say a shadow energy that's behind you is very long, and so when you're moving around, it lags and it tracks you back into that energy again. But when it's very short, you're a lot more freer, and so your mind is completely positively in this moment. So even if something goes wrong, it doesn't, you don't hang on to it, you don't grip it and try to protect yourself from it again happening in the future, which is actually bringing it to you in the future again. I'm trying to give you a sense or a bearing of how it feels. It does, it's just being present. It's just being present. And you can bring yourself into the moment by loving everything that is around you, by just accepting and loving, and no, oh my God, my partner's doing this. Oh my God, I should be, and I this is going on too long, or I'm saying the wrong things, or that sort of thing. That's all your monkey mind hooking you into that long trail ribbon of keeping that going. Which means you're creating it. You loop around and you end up attracting the ribbon back to yourself again. And so you end up reliving the same annoying things again. But when the ribbon's short, when you're completely still in acceptance of this moment, you move through life with just grace and respect of everything that's happening. There is nothing that goes so-called wrong, because is just acceptance of, oh, that was interesting. I always say to myself, if I do a boo-boo, so-called logical boo-boo, I just go, oh, that was interesting. And then I just let it go. And that helps. And it's not to say that I don't end up back in my mind. Sometimes I do. That monkey mind does come up for me. Absolutely it does. I'm not perfect in this. But it's not so much anymore. My life is a lot more easier to control, and the desired outcomes come easier. Manifesting comes easier. But yeah, when I do find myself, I don't get down on myself. If I find myself in that monkey mind and thinking about the past or projecting into the future, I don't get down on myself. I just go, oh, wow, caught myself. Okay. Well, now I know why everything this morning was hiccuping, was going wrong. It kind of sneaks up on you, right? Because we're used to having it there all the time. That's what we've been trained to do. Copy and paste your life, copy and paste your life. Watch out for all the problems that are going to come. Be aware, always project. Oh my God. And then you don't have any space to create. You're just reliving the same issues. Very cool. I just have another sip of water. See if they want to bring through anything else. So there's going to be a fuller understanding with many that have done the work in 2023 that we are source energy. So stepping into those moments, stepping into acceptance of oneself in each moment is going to give you the grace of creating. Yeah. Let's see if anything else comes through. There's so many more abilities that are going to shine through. People are going to be able to smell, sound. God, they're bringing through all these different abilities. It's like heightened awareness of present moment. Okay, and when a gift comes along for you, if you don't like it or if you want to tone it down, you have those reins. So if you start having a gift that gives you a little bit of anxiousness or fear, but you're still excited and want to make it happen, then just say to the universe, just tone it down. That's you taking the reins as well. Um, I did that. Bobby did that. I did that when I when I ended up having a lot of visions, a lot of people coming to me, a lot of, like, I think it was back in the 1990s. A lot. I would wake up and see all these things. Just too many. Also used to have people looking over me, and if you wake up and see a person looking over you, it's frightening. So the only way to be able to uh, accept that within my logical self, so and still work with it, but control it in a way that I could handle it, my logical brain could handle it, was to take the reins, and then I directed what I wanted. So then I asked for only two guides at a time to talk through me. So anyone else had to go through those guides to get to me, because otherwise it was too chaotic. There was too many different energies coming at me. I was like a lighthouse, and that lighthouse just magnetized everybody towards me because I had that gift. And so I ended up setting myself up. I took the reins and I said what I wanted. So as these gifts happen, so for instance, you do end up smelling sound and it's just too intense, or something like that, some really bizarro gift, right? That might come your way and it's too intense. Ask them to tone it back, tone it back. Thank you. You just want to experience that in a milder form until you get used to it, and then you realize that you can accept it more, because you can use these gifts to your advantage, right? I mean, I don't know how in this they're telling me smelling sound, you can actually smell vibrations, you can actually smell an earthquake coming. So that's interesting. Um, and then okay, when I smell that smell, there's something, earthquake's going to happen, that sort of thing. And then to move out of that area. Yeah, interesting, like smelling vibrations or something. Anyway, so there's all these really different scenarios that are going to come with each of us, especially those that have come from different planets. So souls come straight from another planet and into this human form. Then the ability that we had on that planet can be grounded on this planet, which is actually some people's missions. Some people's missions is to ground those abilities and show humanity how many more abilities they actually can tap into if they truly desired. We're in this kind of a muddled place where we're still figuring out what gifts we desire and what gifts we don't, and it's up to ourselves individually on what we want to bring in and what we want to leave and let go of, what's not conducive to the reality we want to create and what is. And this is going to be more on not ego based, but more on, is this going to help or benefit me create the desired reality that I really desire, that I really want? Yeah. So, in any case, I think I'll leave it there and see what comes up next Tuesday. Also, I did a really big channel message, so I'm going to read that out. And I want to do a couple of things. I might just do the sporadic live. I don't know yet, but there might be a sporadic live this weekend or something, because I also want to show you around my house, and I have videoed everything, but I've got to upload it and do all the movies and stuff. And I've been having a lot of holiday fun with my partner, and we're going on holidays again. We just keep going on holidays. So I'm trying to fit everything in. So you might actually see me go live from a hotel in the next couple of weeks. But I'm thinking if I just show you around my house instead of videoing it and stuff, there's a lot more work involved if I actually make a movie. Also, I've got this channel message, and I still want to get to this image behind me, which I painted. This image behind me, somebody asked me the other day if I could explain it, because I did this painting years and years ago, but I suppose I could do it now since we have 10 minutes, right? So this image is actually of creation and Gaia's or humanity's evolution. I didn't realize I created these little images, these little pictures, and then I painted the backdrop black, and I just kind of followed. It was kind of like a channeling. It channeled through me. So here we have, these are silverfish. So at the beginning there was, life. And after life we have the introduction of the elementals. And then we have UFOs that came down and explored. So there was contact eons ago. The elementals were created through creator gods and Pleiades. So they came about because Pleiadians were helping humanity become closer to Gaia herself, and so there was a essence of all nature that became in the form of humanity's avatar or body, so that they could have a better understanding of the connection to these plants. So they're the go-betweens. And this is there was a lot more other beings that came and visited Gaia as well, and they also infused their DNA with humanity and so forth. This here in the center here is all about the now. So we have the spiral, which represents source energy and the understanding of source energy above Uluru. And there was a big, huge shift that came from Uluru out to the rest of the world. Then we have spaceships disguised as comets. And then I have Gaia herself as a cave. There's all this new magic that's coming from the caves that humanity, these are all little people here. I don't think you can see them, that are actually sitting by the cave and the light's coming out. So there's all this understanding that there's other life within Gaia herself. And then we go to, once we have this understanding and connection with Gaia, we go to actual contact being made with humanity, visiting other worlds, is this one up here, and their realities. And then we have over here grounding their realities on planet Earth with us as well. This here in the background is a spiral of DNA. It's entwined into a galaxy, and there's a spark right in the center. So it's very much like source energy, light itself. And then there's an expansion. The DNA over here goes into even more threads. So there's this whole expansion thing that happened, something like that. Anyway, that is that's that painting, because someone did ask me about it. I've painted premonition dreams. I've painted, I had huge premonition on Steve Irwin's passing, who is the owner of Australia Zoo here close to me. Huge premonition of that. I actually dreamt of him in his heaven 6 months before he passed. And I had a vision of an angel shooting a bow and arrow into his heart and a dad in a coffin. So I knew that someone was dying. I actually woke up crying from that vision. There's a whole heap of stories that I've got of the past. I've been gifted many, many things that were coming. And now it's just all about me channeling. But yeah, so I've got all these other paintings of future and of signs and stuff like that. Anyways, until next time, I will see you definitely on Tuesday, if not before. So I might do a live before, just sporadic. If no one's in the chat bar, so be it. But I'm probably just going to jump on and do something sporadic. Or I'll put a movie together. I'll see how it all works. Just seems to be a bit easier to go live now that I'm used to it. And I might make the movie, I might make the channeling that I just did yesterday, which was really cool, into a movie. So lots of work to be done still. Until next time, guys, bye.